Good evening, all. You're welcome to today's lecture. Today, we take a look at principles of pharmacy technician practice. Today, we'll take a look at Pptp. We are still on Npce review. Npce review, as usual, we look at the questions and go around the question and answer it and point out the reason why the chosen answer is the correct answer and why the others are not the correct answers. Okay. So question 1 says, can you see the board? Okay. Question 1 says, pharmacy dates back to which period? A, human civilization. B, human development. C, human emancipation. D, none of the above. Okay. The question says, pharmacy dates back to which period? A, human civilization. B, human development. C, human emancipation. D, none of the above. The answer to this question is actually A, human civilization. Why? Because pharmacy as a profession was practiced in those days, was practiced using natural materials like plants, minerals, even animals for healing. So these things have been there way back. So as God created heaven and earth and all living things, they were still there, all those things were there. So these things I pointed out emerged with early human settlements. And they actually organized, of course, those human settlements from age to age, organized into societies. Into what? Societies from one generation to what? Another what? Generation. So now this plant, this medicinal plant, the evidence of this medicinal plant, the evidence of the use of this medicinal plant, and even their preparation goes way back to the prehistoric and early civilization era. So because of that now, linking this to pharmacy is quite understandable. So this is why it's linked to human civilization. So this is the most appropriate answer. B says human development. And human development is somehow broader. So it's somehow broader than the specificity of human civilization, because human development involves a lot of things, and so it's not that clear. So because you know that development is a continuous process. So it's not really the best answer to this. Even though if you're not careful, you may go and choose it, but it's not really the answer. C says human emancipation. Human emancipation. human emancipation have no business with what we're talking about pharmacy history. Human emancipation is a different not together. So they have no business with medicine and pharmacy. So this is not the answer. He says none of the above. The answer cannot be none of the above because we have already pointed out the answer. So this renders this question, this option incorrect. So pharmacy dates back to the period of human civilization. In fact, the earliest human being can even take up existence is as old as existence of human being. That's the summary of the whole thing. So let's look at the second question. Okay. The second question says, what evidence shows that humans and plants, what evidence shows that humans use plants as medicine? Around 50,000 BC. A. Prescription in British Museum. B. Historical records from Babylon. C. Plant fossils with medicinal properties found in Neanderthal remains. Plant fossils with medicinal plants with medicinal properties found with pharmacy long history. All right. Number 2 says, what evidence shows that humans used plants as medicines around 50,000 BC? A. Prescription in British Museum. B. Historical records from Babylon. C. plant fossils with medicinal properties found with Neanderthal remains. D. Pharmacy long history. So what is the answer to this question? What is the answer to this question? The answer is actually C. Plant fossils with medicinal properties found with Neanderthal remains. Why is it the answer? Let's see. Let's see why is the answer. From archaeological findings, it was made clear that early human and Neanderthal sites show signs of what? Show signs of medicinal plants used long ago, even before they were recorded. What are in check, or what are we talking about when we say archaeological findings? From the residues and remains from plants, it was determined archaeologically that these plants were used those days, even before it was any record was put in place. And because of these archaeological findings now, it provides direct evidence that supports ancient plant use. It provides what? Direct evidence that supports what? Existence of ancient what? Support the fact that there was a time in the ancient time that these plants were actually used for medicinal purposes. So that's why I will choose option C. Option A says prescription in British Museum. No, this one is not. Yes, a time came where we have prescription in the British Museum, but not that 50,000 BC is prehistoric era. No record was put in place, but through archaeological finding, even to today, some archaeological excavations can be done, and the artifact will now be truly carbon dated to find out the age when that particular material was used. So for the fossils now, these fossils we are checked, and we got found that this we are used 50,000 BC, 50,000 BC, very long time. So no history that time, no documentation. Okay, so prescription, yes, prescription came, but it was much later. So it's not 50,000 BC. So this is the answer. This is historical record from Babylon. Yes, even though Babylonian records are ancient, yes, but the dates is not 50,000 BC. Those were just few thousand BC, like 2000 BC, not 50,000 BC. So it's not the answer. Have you noticed something about this option? These things are not wrong, though. Yes, precision found in British Museum is used to study history of pharmacy. Historical records from Babylon, but these ones came much later, not 50,000 BC. Please know that point. This is pharmacy long history. I agree with the pharmacy has a very long history. It's a true statement. but it has no business with the question. Yes, I agree. Pharmacy has a very long history, very, very long history. Yes. What started as what you cannot even be able to trace, just human existence with human civilization. Wherever human was, there was a plant to use for medicine or the other. So, but this whole thing, this pharmacy long history, even though it's true, but it has no business with the question. So that's renders this was incorrect. So the answer is what? C. Plant fossils with medicinal properties found with Neanderthals was remains. All right. So let's look at the question number 3. Let me write on the phone. I don't like this. Give me a All right, let's look at question number 3. The question says, which statements about apothecaries are correct? A. They prepared and sold medicines. B. Their work requires skill and required skill and knowledge. C. Only A is true. Both A and B are true. The answer is actually D. Both A and B are true. Why? Let me explain. From history, apothecaries were actually practitioners, yes. So they prepared, dispensed, and sold medicinal substances. So whatever they were doing that time, the practice required significant pharmaceutical skill. Yes. Remember the Apothecary Act that differentiated them from grocers. Remember that? Because that separation was important because they needed pharmaceutical skills to develop in the line of pharmaceutical, compounding. So what they were doing at that time requires significant pharmaceutical skill and knowledge. So that's why the two of them are, the A and B are correct. Because they prepared medicine, they sold medicine. They also their work requires skill and knowledge. So A and B are correct. So that's why this B is correct. Option C says only A is true. Only A is not true. Only A is not true. Only A is not true. So, because B is also true. That's why this option is not true. And you cannot choose only this one because it's not true. You cannot choose only this one. So that's why B is the correct option. So let's go to the next question. All right. Question 4 says, which was a result of Apothecaries Act of 1815? A. Defined the two streams of pharmacy and medicine. B. Grocers resisted the act. C. Apothecaries formed their own guild. D. It slowed the development of the pharmacy profession. So what is the answer? Actually, this question number 4, the answer is actually A. It defined the two streams of pharmacy and medicine. So this actually provided a clearer legal separation between or definition between pharmacy and medicine. This is the aftermath of the act. So I'll take this, but let's look at the other question, the other option. This says grocers resisted the act. I agree with you. Grocers actually resisted the act they did. In fact, it was even what it was that resistance that the charter was done that before, even 200 years before this 1815. But the grocers resisted it. But at the end, they could not win the game. They could not stop it. So it came into full force in 1815. But that is not the aftermath. That is not what was achieved by this act. So even though yes, they resisted, but that's not the answer. Is it clear? In fact, let me even throw more light here. See, is a way of refreshing our memory on that. See, this apothecary art as led to 19th century, 1815, it clarifies the what, the rules and professional boundaries between those prescribing drug and those what preparing medicine. So this it actually helped to do what? Formalize pharmacy practice. Very important. So this act actually did a lot of changes. In fact, it introduced training. The training and training and standard for apothecaries was introduced, and at the same time, legal recognition of the rules of the what apothecaries. Are we together? Good. Now, but for grocers, as I said, they actually what resisted. They do what? They resisted, but it's not the outcome of the what? The act. It's not the defining outcome of what? The act. Now, option 6 says apothecaries form their own guild. The act is not about forming guild. The act, the acts, the acts, even though yes, you may see it that way, but it's not what the act is there to. Because the act actually regulated the practice and licensing. Practice and license, that is the concern of the act, not to create a guild as if it's as the main outcome. No. Yes, guild happen, but it's not the main purpose of what the act. So that's why this is not what the answer. Option C says it slowed the development of the pharmacy profession. Hey, wahala. This act, it did not slow down what anything. The act did not what slow down anything. In fact, it's even the opposite of it. It's easy what the opposite of it, because this act helped a lot in regulating the profession. So it did not slow you down. Instead, it helped to do what? Improve and at the same time create very good image for the profession. So the answer is what? A. The answer is what? A. Let's look at question number 5.
Okay. Question number 5 says, which statement does not describe a dispenser? A. Someone who studies pure chemistry. B. Non-professionally trained people supplying medicines in the hospitals by prescription. C. Trained assistants compounding prescriptions under supervisions. D. Qualifications via assistant exams to compound or dispense under supervision.
So what is the answer? The answer is actually A.
Someone who studies pure chemistry.
Why is it A?
Because this option
You're just talking about
study of pure chemistry. There are no business with what?
dispensing. Is that clear? So, but before we do that, who is a dispenser? As far as pharmacy history is concerned, who is a dispenser? Actually, dispensers are just people. They are just people that are involved in the preparation or supply of what? Medicines. Of course, most time they are under what? Supervision. Yes, studying chemistry may help out, but studying pure chemistry, it just describes an academic discipline.
So here, if you just say studying chemistry, you are talking about academic
What? Academic discipline, not about
rule. It has no business with
dispensing. So it has no business with the rule of a what? Dispenser. If you're not careful, you go and take it because they say chemist. Because you hear chemist, you go and take it and say that is the answer. No, it's not what the answer. Is that clear?
Yeah. So I mean, it's what they say does not. Sorry, that is the answer because it does not describe a dispenser. So that's what made it the answer because it does not describe a dispenser. All these ones,
They describe what? Dispenser.
so here, non-professionally trained people supplying medicines in the hospital by what?
Prescription. Now,
This thing now talks more of what? Unregistered non-professional dispenser. In some setting, they can still involve people that are not professionally trained as dispenser, depending on what they have on ground. So, but at least the person has to be what? Trained in one or the other. So they are also taken as what? Dispensers. See, this is not the answer. She says trained assistants, compounding prescription under supervision. It's true. I agree with you. Yes, dispensers are actually what? Trained what? Assistants. I agree. But it's not the answer. It's not the answer. So, because they say which one does not. This is qualification via assistance exams to compound dispense under supervision. Yes, that's why you go for a counseling exam. Because you have to get qualified. Having been tested by the board, you get qualified, then you take hold and take your what? Annual permits. So you should be able to show that to get that qualification as a pharmacist technician, you should be able to write the exam and show that you actually gain knowledge and skills for the 3 years training. I agree with you. Because it's through qualification, it's an assistant exam that you get qualified. Fine, but it's not the answer. Because we are talking about the statement that does not describe dispenser. This B, C, and D describes dispenser. That's why they are not the answer. So let's look at the last question for the day. Okay, the question says, before European missionaries arrived, before European missionaries arrived, who mainly provided healing in Nigeria? A, traditional healers. B, traditional rulers. C, village heads. D, superstition. So what's the answer? The answer is actually what? Traditional healers. Why is it the answer? Why is it that? So before our colonization, the healthcare at that time we are mainly provided by what? Traditional healers, herbalists, diviners, midwives. Those days, those people
they use indigenous knowledge about the nature around them, knowledge of plants, and he mix it up with rituals to be able to do what? Treat what? Illness. Traditional rulers have no business with what? Business is what? Healing. Village heads have no business with what? Healing. Superstition. Superstition. What is superstition? Actually, superstition is just, influence. Is a belief system we have that influence the healing word properties, healing practices. Now, this belief is not it's not health care provider. Superstition does not provide any help. You are just believing in what you think, or what you feel, or what you are told. It are not business with what? Pharmacy what? Practice. It's just about what you believe. The question says, before the European missionaries arrived, who mainly provided healing? If you're not careful, you go and take superstition. In first place, superstition is not a human being. The reason why this is not the answer. You just a belief system, believing in something. And then any smart now attribute it to something, which in most cases are not true, according to my timetable. What did I say now? Timetable. I'm feeling sleep. Sorry, I'm feeling sleep. Stop here. My eyes are heavy. I said, I got your timetable. Please, please. I'm feeling sleepy. I'm tired. It's almost what's time. So let me just round up, please. Just understand what I'm saying about superstition. It has no business with this. Even though they mix up superstition a bit, but it's not entirely what you're talking about. So the people, those that we are actually providing the healing services, we are what? Traditional healers before the Europeans. Okay. So this is not, these three are not what the answer. So the answer to number 6 is A, traditional healers. Thank you very much. Sorry for what happened today. I'm feeling sleepy. My eyes are heavy. I was busy talking. Only God knows what and what I've said throughout this class. I'm struggling to ensure that this class goes. All right, please bear with me. All right, see you tomorrow. God bless you.